To settle.
Joining us now with his story, Randy Sowers. He's the owner of South Mountain Creamery. That's a dairy farm in Middletown, Maryland. Thanks very much for joining us, Farmer Randy. You have now settled with the IRS. Am I right about that? How much money did you end up losing in the end?
Altogether, about $32,000.
And Randy, what happened here, it sounds is these structured transactions were just a series of deposits as a course of your doing business. Is that right?
Yes, we do a lot of farmers markets and have a store on the farm. So we do handle a lot of cash. My wife always deposits the money on Monday. And we've been doing that for years, but one day she happened to take $12,000 into the bank, and the teller said, well, next time keep it under $10,000, and now I'm going to have to fill out this paperwork. And nobody mentioned that it might be against the law, but you know, that's what my wife did. Not that we had much over, or probably never had much more than $10,000, but she always had to keep cash on hand for change for the farmers markets and things like that, so we just never deposited everything.
So what happened a couple of years ago, Randy, in 2012 when the IRS, it sounds like they just borrow the phrase shot first and then ask questions later about what was going on with your business?
Yeah, one day the Treasury Department showed up at the farm and said they need to talk to me about my bank account. And I thought for years that someday they're going to show up and try to find out where I got all this cash, so I wasn't too concerned. I tried to call my lawyer, but he didn't answer, but I didn't think it'd be a problem. So we sat down and we started talking about it. And it seemed like, I said, sometimes we get $12,000 or $14,000 in cash a week. After about 10 or 15 minutes of discussion, and then they pretty much cut it off, and I think they used that as evidence that I sometimes had more than $10,000, and they informed me that they had just taken over my checking account, that the IRS took that money.
And did they ever accuse you, Mr. Sowers, of anything else other than violating what they thought was this law, or the way you were violating that law? Did they accuse you of laundering money or being a drug dealer? Was there any other accusations here?
Well, the two agents that were there seemed to be pretty well satisfied that we were a working farm and there probably wasn't any criminal intent. But they said that it's gone this far, it has to go through the process now. So they really never accused me of anything, but I had a date scheduled to go before a grand jury to see whether they were going to indict me on those federal accounts of what they were charged before. It was charged. It was signed by a judge.
That is an incrediable story, sir, and thank you for sharing it with us. And I hope the IRS has adequately apologized to you. We're going to have to leave it there, but thank you very much for appearing with us. Absolutely incredible
Randy
story.
Sowers this afternoon trying to deposit. You go to a farmer's market, you're trying to deposit the money, and this is the kind of stuff that gets.
You're under suspicion if you deposit over $10,000, and you're under suspicion if you deposit under $10,000.
Yeah, a difficult situation. Glad that Congress's attention is being drawn to it. As we mentioned, Randy did testify yesterday before Congress. We have 18 minutes to go into